I bet you I know what slide is coming next. I bet you it's OSPF, and it is. We need to go with OSPF area 0. So no router EIGRP 101. We're going to do router EIGRP, router OSPF 1. We're going to do network 10. And now we have to use a wildcard mask in this approach. And we say area 0. So we're saying, okay, switch 2, if it begins 10.x, put it in area 0. We'll end, we'll save, and we'll go over to the next device, which is the R1 device. So we're going to go into the R1 device. We're going to say no router RIP. I'm going to say router, no router EIGRP 101, router OSPF 1, network. If you begin with the 10, we want you in area 0. Now, I want to show you something right now that is what you hear people talking about. Like, they're like, when you're good at Cisco networking, you start to think like a router. What does that mean? Well, thinking like a router here would mean that we think ahead of what's supposed to happen. If I'm thinking ahead here, when I press enter, we should see an adjacency, a neighborship, a peering, whatever you want to call it, with switch 2. So does that happen? When I hit enter, do we see an OSPF peering appear between this device and switch 2? And look at that. That's exactly what happened. So we know we did it right. We were thinking like a router, thinking about what would happen, and what we were thinking should be true did come true. And we're so much faster at, doing the config and verifying the config that way when we think like a router thinks. All right, one more time. No router EIGRP 101, router OSPF 1. And by the way, this is a locally significant process ID. It does not need to match like the autonomous system number needed to match. So that's super interesting. All right, router OSPF 1 network. Now here we got to be careful. We don't want to run OSPF everywhere, remember. So I'm going to do a show IP interface brief. We want it running just here. So I will be specific. Router OSPF 1 network 10, 10, 10, 2, quad 0 in area 0. We are just going to run OSPF on that one interface that way. And look at that. We got her done. Now, there is an alternate way that you can do OSPF. Watch. I'm going to get rid of the network statement, and I'm going to go under the interface and enable it. So we got rid of the network statement. The OSPF neighbor came down, and then that's the gigabit 0/0 interface. So that's where I'm going to go. Interface gigabit 0/0. And we're going to say IP OSPF, the process ID, and we're going to say area 0, and the neighborship came back up. So let me show you this config, this interesting config, this alternate way to do OSPF. First, let me save it and then do a show run. This is so interesting. We go under the interface and we do area 0. And then the rest of the configuration is just to do the router OSPF 1 command in global config. And Chris, you're absolutely right. This is like how it's done with OSPF for IPv6. Yep, it's like how it is done in that world. Now, Jürgen says, well, which is the best practice? And I've got to be honest, there is no best practice here. It is two alternate ways to configure it. And if they don't care in your CCNA sim, then do whatever you like best. I got to be honest, I am fastest with the network command. So I would do the network command because that's how I'm the fastest. But if they wanted me to do the interface level, I know how to do it. And they would probably say in a task like this, they would say configure OSPF area 0 between switch 2, R1 and R2, and you can't use the network command. Oh boy. Yep, that's what they would say. And think about the poor student that has not done their homework and doesn't know about the interface level command and is lost. You know, they're going to be like, can't use the network command. It's impossible.